The Explorator is this first-person shooter where you're basically treasure hunting on a cursed island that supposedly has the ruins of Atlantis underneath. The whole place got overrun by goblins and other nasty creatures that basically crawled out from underground tunnels. And now you're trying to figure out what's going on while helping other explorers who got trapped. Thank you kindly to Remnant Games for sponsoring this video. So what makes this game different is that it uses the cel-shaded art style but mixes it with old school 2D sprite animations for the characters. So kind of like classic Doom but with modern graphics. The developers say they were inspired by games like Stalker and Metro, so it has that atmospheric survival vibe going on. You start off on a ship that immediately gets attacked and then you're thrown into combat situations where ammo management can become a real problem fast. The shooting is very frantic and the enemies are pretty aggressive, so you need to use cover and actually think about your shots. You can find different weapons but they all share ammo types, which means you run out quick if you're not careful. The world itself is semi-open, meaning you can explore around but there are still specific paths and objectives to follow. You get quests from NPCs you meet along the way, and there's a merchant system where you can buy gear and supplies. The game has this inventory system where you have to manage weight, so naturally you can't just pick up everything you find. There are also these environmental hazards everywhere, like toxic gas, lava, lightning, and other traps that you need to watch out for. The character progression works through a light RPG system, where you can improve things like your speed, how much damage you take, and your firepower. You also need to manage consumables like food, water, and medical supplies. The game's full version is supposed to have 3 chapters total, each one taking you deeper underground with tougher enemies and new locations. Right now in early access you get the first chapter with 3 levels, some side quests, and secrets hidden around. The developers are planning to add more story content, levels, characters and weapons over the next year and a half. The game's combat is pretty fast paced, you're moving very fast, the enemies come at you in groups, and you are also constantly scrambling for ammo. The game gives you options to go heavy with ammo and big guns, or stay light and quick with smaller weapons. There's crouching and going prone to use cover properly, which you actually should do because just running around shooting doesn't really work. The game's visual style is probably the most interesting part. Seeing these 2D animated characters moving around in this 3D cel-shaded world is kind of odd at first, but it gives the game its own look. Some areas do look way better than others though, and the quality isn't super consistent. The game's intro had some humor in it too, with random stuff like toilets, so the tone is not completely serious all the time. If you're into atmospheric shooters with exploration and don't mind dealing with some rough edges while it's being developed, it might certainly be worth checking out. And that sentence concludes today's video. If your time was respected, a like or comment is very much appreciated.